Well, hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Philanthropone and I'm back with another brand new review here, this time for the game ALTDEUS Beyond Chronos, which is a sci-fi adventure full of robot battles, pop music, and emotion. As it says on the Steam page, I went into this game not really knowing what to expect and wasn't even aware that there was a predecessor called Tokyo Chronos until after I finished the game, which is good news because it goes to show that you don't really need to play the first game in order to enjoy this one, and that while they're in the same universe, the stories are entirely unique and disconnected from each other. In Beyond Chronos, you play as Chloe, a pilot of robot warfighters known as Machia, who along with her crew members protect the planet from an ever-changing hostile threat. And I obviously won't spoil anything, but there was really never a dull moment throughout this entire story, as it often changed in unpredictable ways. At times you'll be discussing the business matters at hand on how to handle the hostile creatures known as Meteoras, and at other times Chloe will reflect on her emotional attachment to her dear friend Coco during the more sentimental scenes of the game.
Coco?
It's these changes in mood that consistently prevented the game from becoming boring. From the futuristic setting of an underground, tech-infused artificial city sheltering from the threat above, to the simple references on how their past and our current age version of social media was detrimental to the planet, there are a lot of small interesting details in the story that attempt to predict what we as a species might be like someday.
I took a look at social media logs from back before Libra was invented, and let me tell you, those conversations were just awful. I could barely stand to look at them. I realized how cruel people could be when they weren't responsible for their words.
The voice acting in the game isn't perfect, but it's quite good. I'd give it around a 7 or 8 out of 10, and I originally could have sworn Chloe was played by Ashley Birch, who played Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn and Chloe in Life is Strange, but it was actually Chelsea Moore, and she did a great job, and the fact that I mistook her for the renowned Ashley Birch says a lot.
I give the flowers water every day. Keeping Coco's house and the sunroom intact is the reason I keep going.
Some of the characters are a bit over the top with their dialogue, but if you're into My Hero Academia or other anime shows, you won't be shocked to see that here. Now, one thing that definitely needs to be pointed out and actually almost made me question on whether or not I wanted to continue playing is the fact that this game features very little interaction. There is some, but at its core, this is pretty much a novel game. And after my first robot battle, I was expecting and hoping to have a lot more of that kind of action, only for the game to then slow down with lots and lots of non-stop dialogue. But I can now happily say that I'm glad I kept playing because the story turned out to be really good, and I'm not a fan of convoluted stories with multiverses, so it was nice to play a Japanese game with a linear plot for the first time in a while. Speaking of dialogue, there is also choice dialogue throughout the story where you can agree or disagree with other characters in the game, and your choices do have some impact on the story in the game. For example, at one point, you're given the choice to have a character join you or not join you in a certain scene. Now, there's also an important thing to point out regarding the devs boasting of the game's 15 to 20 hours of gameplay, because I went into the game expecting one long linear story at that length. Well, it turns out after only 4 hours of playtime, I saw the credits roll, and that 15 to 20 hours is solely dependent on one's desire to replay the same story and make different decisions to get new endings. This is pretty cool, but also a little bit misleading, and I feel like the playtime of a single playthrough should be more clearly stated, but that's just me. Unlocking different story branches is pretty cool though, as it doesn't just involve selecting new dialogue options, but instead at times you'll have to perform specific actions during battle, for example. Also, a nice thing about the longer game length is that you can play this game sitting down, so you can get comfortable as you comb through the hours worth of gameplay the game has to offer. With all of that said, Beyond Chronos won't be for everyone, and I'm sure some may even disagree with my final score of the game, but if you like novel games and can get past the lack of interaction, then what you're left with is a memorable experience with interesting characters and an intriguing story, one that may even last long after you've unveiled the game's true ending. So with all of that said, I give ALTDEUS Beyond Chronos a final score of 8 out of 10.
Noah called that the worst meteor there is, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Julie called it the greatest meteora, the possibility to change human and meteora history. What should I call it then?
So that's all for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about the game if you've played it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you're new to my channel and are interested in VR or gaming in general, be sure to subscribe to my channel for all of my latest updates in the future. Thank you once again. Till next time. Peace.